back to okay. So last week we talked about 368, and so I want to give more credence to what actually the 368 is doing. Okay, this 368 is a super prime. The 368 super prime is 22367, and that number is very interesting because of two things. It's a concatenation of two 19 prime numbers. Okay, 19th prime numbers. 223 happens to be the 19th isolated prime or lonely prime, and 67 is the 19th usual prime. Okay, so it's a concatenation of these two prime numbers. And 368, as we discussed it before, is the frequency of Ha plus Mim in Surah 43. 368's composite is 456 and happens to be 19 times 24. And Surah 43 in the Quran is the 19th initial surah that was revealed, and it is the 24th initial surah in the Quran. 22367 is 379th twin prime pair. Okay, the other half of that is 22369. Okay, so it's part of that pair, 379th. 379th lonely Gaussian prime happens to be 9127. Okay, so you see how 368, which is the number of initials in chapter 43, is connected to chapter 9 having 127 verses. Okay, this always happens. This always happens, and it is absolutely impossible to find these relations, okay, or have mastery of this relation, except if you can see everything at the same time, okay, and be seer of everything. That's what God is saying. That's one of God's most beautiful names, Al-Basir. Okay. So I want to just go back to last week, what I was talking about last week. The reverse of 368 is 863, which is a prime number, and happens to be the 150th prime number. But 150 is the 114th composite. So immediately it tells you that, okay, we are talking about the Quran again. Okay. And the interesting thing about this, that in Hamim, in chapter 43 in the Quran, these counts are absolutely solid. Doesn't matter which book you use. This count always comes to be 368. All the Hamims are like that. Okay? There is no argument, there's no question. Anybody who can count the Arabic letters, they immediately come up with this. This is not aleph or something which can be left out, or this and that, the other spelling could be different a little bit, okay, with a long aleph, a short aleph, or something like that. So there could be all kinds of arguments. There is no argument here. But it tells you that that number of that frequency of Ha-Mim in chapter 43 is actually connected to 9 having 127 verses. Okay? So, and it is talking about the Quran by virtue of reverse of 368, which is prime number 863, which happens to be the 150th prime number, and 150 is actually 114 composite. And we know that Quran has 140 chapters. 863 also happens to be the 83rd lonely prime, but 83rd composite happens to be 114. Okay? So 863rd tri-prime happens to be 3425, and 3425th composite happens to be 3975, and chapter 39 in the Quran has 75 verses. But also you find out that chapter 39 in the Quran actually is the 19th uninitial surah in the Quran. Okay? The 19th initial surah in the Quran is chapter 36. The 19th uninitial surah in the Quran happens to be 39. Okay? And these are the amazing signs of the Quran. That God is giving us almost every week. Almost. 99% of the time, every week, we have these kind of revelations, and we all witness it. But these should be also lessons for us. These are supposed to be signs and truths for us. And what we have to do is we have to actually obey the literal commands of the Quran, because those are God's commands, and we have to understand them. Okay. And we have to respect them, because we have to have absolute respect for the issuers of those commands, who is God. Okay. So this is today's Jummah. Okay, and again, as I said, you can go over this by yourself. Okay, but all of these things, as I said, are solid, very solid. There are no arguments about them, and somehow they will come back to generate the Quran for us. And God is telling us now, why do I have 75 verses in chapter 39? Verses in chapter 39. Why do I have 127 verses in chapter 9? Why the counts of Ha, Mim in chapter 43 is 368, and so on. Okay, these are the mathematical reasons behind these things. Okay, behind these counts. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and we'll finish our Jummah. Allahu Kabir.